Woe to you, O earth and sea.
It's the Hop Nation
USA Podcast.
Welcome to episode 191 of the Hop Nation USA podcast. And boy, oh boy, we're really just racking these episodes up at this point. But we're back on Zoom. And of course, I'm joined by my co-host, Adam.
That's right. And if we're going to have consistency, that means I have to be consistently here. So I am here because I got nothing else to do. But I'm happy to be here.
Great. It's a winner attitude. We love it.
Somebody's got to bring it, Steve. May as well be me.
Yeah. And because we're on Zoom, that means we get to talk to guests that we normally wouldn't, because I wouldn't put up with the shitty audio quality. But we actually have guests who are also podcasters, so they know a little bit about audio quality using the Zoom, talking to streamers, doing all kinds of things like that. And they've been doing it longer than us because they are the Drink a Beer and Play a Game podcast and YouTube channel and empire of media. However, they wanted to find themselves, but we are joined by Jim and Brian from the Wooder side of the state.
Yup. The good old Philly Wooder side.
One, you mean Superior side, and two, hi, thanks to be here.
Thank you guys for having us on, man. It's great to join you. Always
Thanks
wanted to share a beer with you fellas.
Yeah, feelings mutual. Now we finally get to do that.
Yeah, right. It's nice to be, what do you call it? On another show that's like actually used to Zoom too, because every time we have guests on our show, it's always like everyone's always setting up an account for the first time, and like you see them in the window in the corner just fucking with the turn audio on, and they can never get it right.
Yeah,
So-
we adapted kind of quick, but yeah, we got
How many
there.
times have you had a kid or a cat or a dog in the background running around through any of your podcasts like that?
Nothing
Definitely
yet.
had the kids yelling. Luckily, Jim and I, we always structure these like get the kids to bed. The animals, I always try and just keep away, or I won't let them get in camera view. But the noise, sometimes you'll hear like a thud. You're like, what the hell was that? You know?
Was that expensive?
Yeah, exactly.
And in the old days, we would sit at my folding table and we would record, and we would have like a cooler next to us. And little did we know, we would record like 4 in a row. But then we wouldn't record one for another 5 months. So we were creating consistency. But so we would have like 4 episodes recorded, and every time we would open the thing, it would like bounce off the folding table. So you'd hear a whoomp, whoomp, whoomp the whole entire time. It's like, oh, this is unlistenable. Great. Well, throw it up.
Yeah, I mean, and you guys probably know better than anyone. Nothing like drinking, cracking open the beer, and the constant picking up and putting down of glasses. That hitting the audio. So we've gotten more used to just like trying to put it down a little more gingerly.
Everybody be gentle. Everybody be gentle.
Now, by
like
the
an
third
egg.
segment, we'll see.
Yeah,
All bets are off by that point in time.
But yeah, speaking of beer, let's get into what everybody's drinking tonight. And I'll start with our guests. Go ahead, Jim, Brian, whoever wants to go first.
Brian, do you want to show your treat you have going right now?
my still waiting for the foam to dissipate. I'm starting. I actually decided to go PA beers for the episode, as we are all PA folks, and I went with Springhouse Brewing Company. They're from Helheim with Love. It's their hazy IPA with Simcoe, Citra, Mosaic, and Terry's Tears. So they're being a little being creative there with that. The can, it looks awesome, and I don't know if you guys have Springhouse, but they always do, I think, like kind of interesting beer like can designs. We've been to that tap house, and I actually really like a lot of their stuff, but I haven't seen much from them, at least recently. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, let me pick it up. The only problem I'm noticing is this son of a bitch has head that just is like sea foam, doesn't go away, and it's actually kind of interesting. I'll say that.
They say it's a bug, not a feature.
Yeah, exactly.
Other way around, Adam. It's a
No,
feature, not a bug.
it looks like a bug to me.
Brian, patch your shit.
No.
Jim, what about you? What do you have drinking?
I am drinking the Ocean Bound India Pale Ale from the Casa Agria Brewing Company. Comes in at 6.4% alcohol, and they are based out of Oxnard, California. So this is another one that I got from the good old Craft Beer Kings boxes that my wife got me, which I actually had to cancel my subscription for a little bit because I have such a backlog of boxes right now that I'm like, I try to keep the special ones for when we record the podcast, and all of a sudden I have case after case. So I'm making my way through. But a very nice, very hazy, another one of those kind of IPAs that just looks like orange juice almost as you're drinking it, but very tasty so far. Nice hints of citrus, pretty well balanced so far. So nom 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 nom.
Nice.
Right on.
That's my professional review.
Yes. Very thorough. Great tasting notes. Adam, what do you have?
So I also have a PA beer, and this is from one of the new kids on the block. Steve, I don't know if you've had anything from them, but this is the 340 Lager by Old Thunder.
No, I have not had any Old Thunder yet.
They're out of beautiful Blanox.
Blanox.
Out here on this side of the state. The French fried on your sandwich side of the state. This is it's a Helles. It's honestly just a straightforward lager, nothing special, but that's the beauty of it. This is definitely a VFW beer, the kind of beer that you want to, if you're trying to bring somebody into the craft side of things out of the dark and cold that is Keystone Light, hand them one of these.
Sir.
I think they'll like it, and that'll kind of, bring them into the craft world where they'll find something else. If they don't like this, we'll get them something. But 4.8% alcohol, so you can drink this all day. This would be perfect for a tailgate whenever we're allowed to do that again.
Sure.
I mean, it's crystal clear as best as it can be for a lager.
Yeah.
It's straightforward and it's good.
I would, just for Jim and Brian, the brewer that Old Thunder, the brewer from Old Thunder Bay is also the one that used to work at Brew Gentleman. In case I'm sure you guys know Brew Gentleman at least.
Yep. Yeah.
And he was the same brewer who developed the General Braddock IPA. So he opened.
Nice.
Yeah,
This
there's
is
definitely
his new,
some pedigree on this one.
Yeah.
How new is that brewery then? Is it
Couple
A
months.
month and a half.
Oh wow. So we're
Yeah.
brand new.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
It is actually kind of funny when you see, because we've talked to a brewer so far from Naked Brewery, and we're trying to get some more. And it's funny to see how they just all kind of jump around all over the area from one brewery to another, take little bits of here or there, take their one special recipe with them, all that kind of deal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Their calling card.
Yeah, right.
There's another one opening up soon in our area, Necromancer, and the brewer there, Lauren, she started as an assistant brewer at Rock Bottom, and then moved on to Penn Brewery, which guess you guys probably have heard of as well, Penn Brewery.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But now she's the head brewer of her own brewery, so it's all kind of starting up, working your way up, and then we just see it over and over out here.
Mhm.
But
Nice.
yeah.
So what about you, Steve? What do you got in the glass?
I am also drinking PA Breweries, and this one is coming from Abjuration.
Ooh.
It is the CDS V16. Previously, it was either V14 or V15, but the CDS is their Candied Sour series, and that's where they take candy and make sours out of it. Pretty simple. This one, because people get suey as of late, they had to be a little sly on how they advertise it, but it's a pink starburst on the label. So that's exactly what it's made with. It's made with pink starburst.
That's
Interesting.
awesome.
Yeah.
That is
And I love me some sours. I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for that one.
Yeah, Abjuration is an incredibly small brewery out here. So you basically can only get it in two places, at their brewery or at Creekside. So you have to come out this way or have somebody nicely ship you one.
So it's funny because Steve, I know you got that at the brewery.
Yeah.
I have a can of that as well, and I got that at the other source.
Right.
So we have all distribution points covered
Yeah. All
between
two.
between the two of us.
Yeah. Beer itself, 5.6 on the ABV, and it's really, really sweet, but it's also really tart as well. But it's still, it tastes like candy. So yeah,
Does it give you the jaw tingle?
a little bit.
Ooh,
So it's
yeah.
a little too tart for me, but I think you'll really like it when you get
That
around
sounds
to
like it
it.
would be absolutely perfect then.
Yeah, and it also has the same pink slime color as from Ghostbusters too. So
Nice.
So
Summon Vigo every time.
is that with that sweetness though? Do you going through it? Is that one it's a one can and done?
Yeah.
and it's a slow sipper?
yeah, Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially because it's also like really tart for me as well. So it's like I would enjoy it. It's just like one, and as a dessert. Yeah.
Well,
That's
I'm glad to hear that you had this on the show, and I kind of know where you're sitting with it. That way, when I enjoy it, I kind of know what I'm getting into.
Oh yeah, but I mean, as you know, you like sours a lot more than I do, so you'll definitely enjoy this one.
Yeah. Not that I don't think I've ever had a bad one from Abjuration, so I wasn't worried.
No, they are a premier brewery that is pretty high up there, and you know what? That's just going to lead us right into news, notes, and neat this week.
And how is that going to lead right in, Steve?
Well, because I figure since, Jim and Brian are on the other side of the state and it's just the beginning of March, then we can just jump right into Breweries in PA has released their March Madness bracket for the year.
Yes, they have.
They sure have, yeah.
Yes, and Abjuration is seeded number 5.
Which I was very surprised to see that.
Same.
I mean, I'm not against that seating,
No.
but credit where credit is due.
Yeah. And again, it's just because they've been fucking murdering their sour game. Like I was telling Adam, they just released one that was like a real small pilot batch, but they're also starting to do soda sours. So they did a cream soda sour, and it wasn't like sour at all. It just tasted like cream soda.
Oh,
and
that's dangerous.
Yeah, it was incredibly dangerous.
Now, did it give you that like creamy feel, like just stuck to your back of your throat the whole time, like you would expect from a cream soda? Oh.
Yeah. It was amazing. It was like, I don't know how you did this, but this is super dangerous. Everybody's going to get drunk and diabetes.
Is that like, are they just sours, or do they have a couple different things, or is that just their primary specialty?
Oh no, that's just something new that they've gotten into that like they just do a lot of, but like we've talked about it in the past, like the beer that drew us into them was a 15% oak aged vanilla Belgian. So yeah.
Interesting.
And then
it was probably one of the best beers I've ever had.
Yeah.
And that was the first beer that I had from them.
So did they like bounce out the booziness, or did you take the sip and just get that whoosh?
It's everything, because it's a balanced act of, you get the booziness, but you also get kind of a little vanilla sweetness, and then you also get the barrel age on it.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's a killer beer. But also like they have a Strata IPA that's amazing. They put out a triple IPA not too long ago that was like pretty great. So yeah, they do everything across the board. They're just mad scientists.
Now, let me ask you guys, you brought up the March Madness.
Yes.
When you saw the list, were you kind of like, that's exactly what you were expected, or were you surprised some things were missing? Like, what was your initial take?
So I wanted to steal a little something from you guys, because you guys have a segment on your show called Gamers Mad.
I like where this is going.
Yeah, I see where this is going for sure.
Well, I would like to call this Drinkers Mad, and this happens every year, but people are always mad at breweries in PA, just with the way they put together their brackets. But I mean, it's kind of the best, easiest way for them to do it, because otherwise you have to sort through like all kinds of random ass voting and do all kinds of play-in, play-off shit. So just a quick review of how they do it. They take the top rated breweries in PA. They have to have 10,000 check-ins or more. And then if a brewery has 600,000 or more check-ins, it's already entered into the brackets. But then their score is weighted against everything else. So like Yingling automatically gets in every year.
Just because of the numbers, yeah.
Right, just because of numbers. So does Trogs. I don't know what their actual untapped, overall score rankings are. But
yeah, but between the two, between Trogs and Yingling, I mean, Trogs has a much bigger reason to be in the bracket than Yingling.
For sure. But hey, look, Yingling's going up against Helltown in the first round. There's a good chance Helltown will smoke them out. So
yeah. If for no other reason than just spite.
Yes, spite, but also Helltown's really good. So yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly.
It's a double punch.
Yeah, Yingling's the old faithful, so of course that's just gonna be like, it's almost like for us PA guys especially, like that's macro for us. So
Right.
I know all the craft beer guys are gonna be like, get this shit out of here, like,
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah, that's
Like,
the
motherfuckers,
Tuesday Yings and Wings.
that was there for you
Yeah.
when you were 15, and you don't forget it.
Well, what's funny is you mentioning so we had a mutual friend who is friends with the owners of the breweries in PA, and I've always found it fascinating how they choose to respond back to people. And I read their thing, and the number two, like the biggest complaints I kept seeing was like, how do you not have free will, and how do you not have from here like Neshaminy Creek?
Mhm.
And they said we looked at into Untapped, they meet the criteria, but you have like Moo Duck who has like say 20,000 check-ins, but Free Will has like 70,000. So they're like, how does that make sense? And their only response is, well, just check our FAQ. And then I actually looked at it. I said, hey, I did review it. I'm just literally asking the question. I don't care. But how did that not make it? And they're like, just check the criteria again. I was like, all right, well, I guess that's it.
Yeah, it's a little obtuse too, because when you check the FAQ, it's like we used an algorithm. I think the algorithm, like I don't know what the overall ranking of Moo Duck versus Free Will is, but I noticed that a lot too, that people were like, well, where's Free Will? And then a couple other ones came up like North Country and from out this way.
Yeah.
I've brought it up in the past to them because like they used to split it up by sides of the state. At least this year they're kind of throwing everybody in with everybody, which is why Helltown is up against Yingling in the first round, and like Dancing Gnome has some layup on somebody that I have no idea, somebody I never heard of.
But the other thing we have to remember is this is all just for fun.
I know it's
None of this actually matters in any sense of anything.
Yeah.
It's just fun. We don't need to get our panties in a twist over this.
Mm-mm. No,
Yeah, I mean, I think the craft beer community has so many parallels with like the gaming community and stuff like that, for just blowing shit completely out of proportion. So, like, I bet even for Brian's point, when he reached out to them and they're like, just check the fact. They've probably been doing it so long that they have no patience for anyone asking at this point.
Right.
So like, just check the fact. Just check the fact. Like, call us an asshole later. We don't care. Like, we're not dealing with this anymore.
Yeah.
You're still going to read it. You're still going to vote. You're still going to participate.
Yeah, that's very much how those guys handle it. And it's just, like I said, they've been doing it for so many years. And like every year I see people mad. So it's just
you're never going to please. It was funny. Jim and I, we did brackets for a little while. And, you know, we were like, hey, just stick to Philly and closer breweries, or do this, or do like New Jersey breweries since we're close to it. It was funny. We actually like had some of the brewers be like, hey, don't put us in this, or things of that nature. Or they're like, hey, you're using the wrong like label. We got a new one as of last week. Put this in there. It was just funny. And people would question us like, how did you guys do it? It's like, we went off memory. We clearly state like we didn't do research. These are breweries we know and like we're not professional. Relax.
I think this was one of the first times we really talked to you guys too, because you gave us a little, it's got a little bit of an East PA bias, doesn't it? We're like,
yeah.
What we drink? What do you want?
Just read the FAQ. It's all in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, I mean, you talked about at the beginning that beer you're having tonight, Steve, and with getting beer now, did you guys go through a phase of just ordering and having it delivered, or did you always like go to breweries, pick up, or like hit up local bottle shops still? Because it's kind of PA sucks with beer in general. We know that it's not the greatest in terms of where you can get it. Like, I feel like you only get your bottle shops, or if some, beer stores have a decent selection. Otherwise, you're going to the breweries yourself.
For me, it's been a combination of breweries and bottle shops. It just kind of depends on where my day was going. If there was a particular brewery that had something that I really wanted, they were posting on social media, there was a particular beer that I wanted, I'd go there. Otherwise, I'd just go to my bottle shop and do a little bit of shopping there. I didn't really get into much of the shipping, just because I wanted to try to keep the money as local as possible. That was just kind of my bias of just, keep all my money within 20 minutes of where I live. I'm not against shipping, but that's just kind of the way it worked out.
Yeah, you're trying to support the little guy.
Yeah. To turn that around though, have you guys had anything from Pittsburgh shipped out to you? Because I know a couple ones have gone statewide, including Hitchhiker and I believe Grist House. But have you guys gotten anything from our area or even just middle of the state shipped to you?
So no, so I asked the question because I actually, like Adam, I was like, I went on whatever that Square or whatever the ordering service is, and I was like, man, do I want to put out this amount, like $100 or more dollars for these orders, or should I go local? Each time I broke down, I was like, let me go more local. But it was funny. I saw that shit. It's gonna kill me that I'm blanking on a very big name. Church Brewing.
Church Brew Works.
Yeah, church that and what was the other one you said? The Hitchhiker. So those two I got real excited because I have friends who have tried those and they're like, you got to try these. We never see them in bottle shops near us, so that's like my go-to. And if there is a silver lining to this shitty past year, is that I hope breweries maintain that statewide shipping, like after effects, so we can try them without needing to drive out there. And that's something we've been hoping for as well, that like there's not going to be any rollback on the lax in the laws that have come about with any kind of direct to shipping or anything like that. So hopefully PA doesn't fuck it up.
And let's keep all this online ordering around too. Because I am absolutely in love of ordering my beer and then that evening spending 2 minutes, picking it up and walking right back out the door.
Let's stop standing around in lines like Jags.
Yeah. It is a beautiful thing. And the rollback on PA is it's much needed. I mean, they still got some ways to go for individual shipping, but I love the rollbacks already.
Yeah. So Adam, do you have a news story that you want to talk about?
A little bit. We're going to go a little bit further west than Pittsburgh. We're going to go over to the Buckeye State. Platform Beer. I'm sure you guys all know about them. They were once the pride of Ohio, and they had a tap house in Columbus. And on Sunday, they had a bit of an event where the entire staff just decided to say, we quit, we're walking out.
Yeah.
So there was some kerfuffle on social media. Somebody walked to the Platform Tap House and found a handwritten note taped to the door saying, we quit. It's locked. We're all done. Found out that the entire staff got together, decided that based on the protocols that the platform was not necessarily putting in place, the shit that they were being put through and the health standards that were being placed at the tap house were not satisfactory. So they all got together and said, we're done. And so now the tap house has been temporarily closed by Platform Corporate. For those that don't know, Platform is one of the most recent purchases of AB InBev. So they are under that large umbrella. So that's what a lot of people are taking an opportunity to take shots.
Hell yeah. And now it's our turn. Fuck these scumbags.
Those are Steve's words, not mine.
I don't care.
Yeah, you can say they're mine too.
I say I'm not disagreeing.
Thanks, Jim. High five.
We'll go coast to coast on this one.
So they just said that the conditions were that bad.
So
Yes.
So here's kind of a more detailed breakdown. They were implementing cost-cutting tactics of like making people work overtime, but they weren't really getting any tips because there's nothing in the tap room. They had bartenders making food. They had they had COVID infections, and they hid the infections both from the public and some of the infections from the staff. So the staff didn't know to get tested for it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, black mold in the refrigerators.
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta get that icing on that cake there. Come on.
Hold on. Not just black mold in the refrigerators. Black mold in the refrigerators where they kept the cans, so the black mold would fall on top of the cans.
If that's not a poster picture right there for platform.
Yeah.
Just call it a new blend. It's the secret ingredient.
Yeah.
That's their new black IPA.
Yeah, exactly.
It's double fermented.
It's a new wild ale. That's all it is.
It is kind of amazing though, like what even a little bit of mismanagement can do. Because I know it's not on the same thing as like a big tap house, but when Brian and I were first hanging out and like we were in college, we would go to this one bar called the Whiskey Tango. And this was a place that would litter an entire like public transportation, like 400 or 500 car parking lot that they would just take over every Friday night and shit like that. Like always packed to the gills. And within 4 years, it was gone. We're like, what the hell happened? How did they screw this up? Well, it's like you just think one bad owner does a little something unseedy, and then it just all blows up the entire thing.
It all unravels real quick.
Now, is it all? Did the owners of the place try to say it's like things that AB tried to put in place to cut cost, or is it just them?
So there's not a whole lot of discussion going on about that. The workers that walked out were all hourly workers, and they cited that the sales team being salary and not helping out was also a reason for them, kind of skipping. They also lost a general manager that was never replaced. So it seems more like they're laying all of this on the owners of platform, though, not necessarily AB InBev, but they're saying, look at all this happening, and they also have the support, like the safety net of AB InBev, and somehow they still fucked all this up. So we're out.
It's insane.
And
I guess once you have the one of the biggest names in the world behind you, you can't really go, oh, we can't afford this. Well, can you?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. And as of now, I don't know when they plan on reopening the tap room, if they ever do plan on opening it again.
Yeah. They're currently trying to negotiate with the employees, but they're doing it in the slimy corporate way of they're not seeing all the employees at once. They're trying to split them up individually and
Divide and conquer.
Yep.
Right.
Divide and conquer.
Get somebody to turn. So with that, there is a GoFundMe to help support the workers that did walk out, because obviously we support them, not platform. Platform is, we already have a vendetta against them because they were trying to open a tap room in Pittsburgh before they were bought by AB InBev. But it was shortly after they were bought by AB InBev, and we kind of started to realize, oh, this was always the plan. They were just trying to sneak an AB InBev tap room into Pittsburgh. And
we don't need that around
here. We don't have none of that trash. So
we're pure, damn it.
Yes, we'll have a vendetta against them. But you can support the workers on GoFundMe if you go to the support and solidarity for platform workers. Yeah, you can help them out, because it sucks that they're going to lose. It sucks that they had to lose their jobs that way. But also it's cool that they actually supported each other.
Yeah.
All just walked out. And there's enough good breweries in Columbus that they'll probably find jobs eventually.
Yeah, Jim, you would have been that one worker that didn't support everyone and stayed there. Like, guys, what?
So you're saying I get how much to come back?
Scabs.
Sign what now? Nah, I mean, good on them, especially with all the health codes, especially in this day and age when, like, especially you guys are talking about with the breweries that opened up like a month or two ago in the middle of a pandemic. Like, it's like, all these guys are starting from like at the worst time possible. You think you put that little bit of extra effort out there to keep yourself afloat.
Right.
I am very impressed with the number of breweries around here that have opened up or just about to open up in the last year. I mean, that's damn fine effort. I applaud every single one of them that have been able to open up in the last year or so.
There's been a lot around us too. And like ones that would maybe have one tap room opening up a couple expansions here and there. It's impressive, even though no one can sit in them for at least half the year. They're still doing good enough. I mean, everyone's locked inside. No one has anything better to do. So head on over there, grab a couple cases, and take it home, I guess.
Right.
Blessing and a curse.
Yeah, Warwick Brewing is expanding by 5,000 square feet for a new addition to their tap room, and they're still newish, and they've somehow managed to do pretty decent because, like everyone, I think we thought so many of these little breweries were going to be closing. And I know some were hit and it definitely sucked.
Mhm.
But as Jim and I have said, like, that I feel like craft brewing has, I forget, I saw the percentage, but over the past like 7 or 8 years, it's like the most rapidly growing market in the US for like new businesses. And it was almost becoming oversaturated to a degree. So it's kind of like, yeah, the good will always keep going. But yeah, I mean, it does suck for those workers, but they'll find a job one way or another.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I can't speak to every other state, but I just feel like PA has a real like come together sense of local. Because I mean, we're talking about like there have been breweries that shut down, but honestly, we can't think of any in our area that like got into trouble or anything. People were just really willing to support local when it came to it. So
Nobody circles the wagons like Pennsylvania beer drinkers.
That's right.
And we're both when it comes down to it based on being blue collar towns. So
right.
like there's always that sense of community and stuff like that. Even as the generations change and stuff, there's still bits and pieces of that there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The only thing we want to do is also just be snotty to every other brewery around us.
Well, that's the fun too.
Yeah. Get that Jersey trash out of here. I'm not having no flying fish.
Yeah. It's like I'm so tired of hearing about Kane. We get it. Yeah, no, I love the Jersey arguments because I have buddies that are like try and throw ones at me. It's like, okay, Cape May has a few. I'll give you a couple. But man, like you go through the list of PA versus Jersey, it's not even a competition. Like, get out of here.
No.
I mean, you drop Cape May Brewing in the middle of Camden. You tell me if people are going to stick around as much too.
Yeah,
Beer's good.
Yeah.
And speaking of good beers, I guess we should go back and wrap up what the beers we are drinking.
Yes.
Brian, I'll start with you with what used to be your column of foam.
Yeah. So it's funny. Whenever I have something that's like the citric and mosaic or citra and mosaic, it's these type of IPAs always leave my mouth super dry, and they're more bitter than any type of true citrus I get from it. It's extremely middle of the road. It's not bad by any means. It just doesn't do anything that unique. And I feel like that's a problem with a lot of breweries right now with their hazy IPAs is they just want to get one out there and it doesn't like wow me. It's not bad, but like, you know, unless you're local to these guys, I'd say you don't have to go out of your way. But it's solid. Like I'll give it, if I was giving it a score, I'd say like a 6 out of 10.
All right. I'd drink a 6 out of a 10.
Yeah.
Jim, how about you?
It's kind of in the same boat with Brian's beer where when you have like every brewery has their IPA or their double IPA or their hazy IPA these days. So it's tough to set yourself apart, but this does I say it's a lot for a good amount of beers, but it's also like a really good, reference starter beer for anyone who doesn't like craft beer, I'd say. Like if you want to give someone an IPA, but you don't want to kill them with hops right away, something that's a little lighter with a little more citrus, but you still get that hop aftertaste that sticks to the back of your throat. I'd say this one's definitely one to go for. This is really, it's good. Like there's 1,000 of them out there like it, but if you come across it, especially if you're in California, I'd say you definitely pick it up.
Right on. Right on. Steve, how about you? How about that Abjuration pickup you got there?
Yeah. So I'm drinking the CDS, the Candied Sour. That is a really good beer, especially if you're into sweet and sour things. Like it's basically just, candy in a glass. And that's what it goes for. They called their shot, so you can't be mad at it. You pick it up, if you pick it up, you can go, "Hey, this tastes like candy." Well, fucking duh.
You mean it's not like that unicorn farts beer, and you're like, "What does a unicorn fart taste like?"
Dew Claw with your Maryland.
Yeah.
And Adam, to your other side of the spectrum, the old world style that's not full of candy and
the Pride of Blawnox, the Old Thunder 340 lager. I mean, it's good beer for what it is. It's just not supposed to be an exciting beer, and that's okay.
Yeah, Hellas's are drinkable.
Yeah, it's exactly what it's supposed to be. Be a great tailgater, which, God willing, we'll be able to do that soon.
Hey, Flyers are letting people back into the stadium. Got like 3,000 people, I think they're letting in. So
Pens are the same way tonight.
So a sellout for the Flyers. Hacha.
Sons of bitches.
oh, wait, I don't have the power this time. Shit.
Close the door behind them. They can't get out now.
look at me. I have 17 Stanley Cups.
Yo, we poached Hextall. He's ours now. He works for us.
I was hoping so bad he was going to take Hackstall with him and be like, you guys deal with that. But it hasn't happened yet. Hopefully he puts his golden boy in there again. You'll see. You'll fucking see. But no, I mean, he also had to deal with the Flyers organization, which
Yeah. We have the Pirates, so we fully understand.
We don't talk about that. No. With that, we'll come back segment 2 and talk a little bit about video games. Hooray. See you then.
Wait.
Sounds good. See you then.
Welcome back to episode 191 of the Hob Nation USA podcast. And we're still with the guys from Drink a Beer, Play a Game. Jim and Brian. Say hello.
Glad to be back.
Yep. Yeah. I finally got a beer that's not all foam this time, too. So I'm very happy.
Dope. We can just go around the horn again and see what everybody's drinking this segment. Adam, let's start with you.
All right. Well, I kept it here in Pittsburgh. We're going to Spoonwood Brewing. We've had them on the show a couple of times. We're going to have them on again. But the Flam Basted. This is a Banana Foster inspired beer, 6.5% ABV. And if you like bananas, you're really going to like this beer. It's got a really good banana nose to it. As soon as I cracked open the can, and there was no mistaking what it was supposed to be. Now, obviously, if you picked up the can, you should have read the label. So there should have been no mistaking in the first place. But it had a really good banana smell to it. On the taste, it's there as well. Similar to some of the other Banana Foster's beers that we've had recently. There's good banana, not much on the Foster side of things. But that's okay. Just taking a look at it for those that are on the YouTubes whenever we put it on there. Not exactly the color I was expecting. I was expecting it to be a little bit lighter, but that means nothing to the beer. Who cares? Yeah. It's good. That's the point. So, good job, Spoonwood. Another winner.
Right on. Brian, what do you have?
So I'm sticking local as well. This one actually comes to us from the Urban Village Brewing Company, and it's their Honey Badger. Imperial IPA comes in at 8.6%.
Nice.
And yeah, it's a bit stronger. And the last one I forgot to mention was 6.8%. But this is brewed with like a few different hops. But what's interesting is when you see Honey Badger, right away my mind goes, there's going to be some kind of honey in it. I did as much research as I could. Can't find that they actually used honey, but when drinking it, there's a definite like more malt sweetness than a typical Imperial IPA. And the like bitterness definitely levels it out. There's like that a very strong hints of like grapefruit in there. But it's weird because when I get those notes and then the finish is kind of a sweet, like my tongue gets that like sticky sweet. I'm guessing they did use honey. Otherwise, I don't know why the hell they used the name. But I already think I like it better than the previous one. And these guys are like a really small brewery in like 2nd Street in Philly. So, never had anything from them before. Happy to try it. And I don't know, I'll try more of their stuff after having this.
Awesome. I'm glad they're on the show too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That honey might come from like the hops, or it might come from like having. I assume there's wheat in that, maybe. So.
Yeah, like that's what. Unfortunately, their site is. It's like I think they opened up with just the intent of like very small local brews, just like a brew house, and they must have just gotten big enough to start canning. So even like if you look up their Untapped or in their like beer advocates, they don't have a ton of information. So unfortunately, I'm not sure. But like I said, I can taste that sweetness. So it could just be extra malty. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
Can you taste the Honey Badger?
Yeah. Well, you don't give a fuck.
We'll have to tag them on social media so we can get an explanation.
Yeah.
Explain yourselves.
Please and thank you.
For myself, I'm also in PA. And this comes from Rusty Rail Brewing, but that's more middle of the state. I'm bridging the gap between Pittsburgh and Philly because Rusty Rail's about 30 minutes outside of State College, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a Mifflinburg, is it not?
Yeah, Mifflinburg. But this is their Crunchbot. It is a caramel peanut imperial brown ale that comes in at 8%. And also, if you look at the can art, it kind of looks like Clank from Ratchet and Clank.
It does.
It does.
It really does. That's a brown ale. That's an interesting color for a brown ale.
Yeah. There's a backlight to it. It blew it out. It actually looks more on the line of Adams.
Okay.
Like an actual
Bananas
brown
font.
ale?
Like a real brown. Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't have time to actually really color correct. Here's a better photo.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it on the nose, it smells like kettle corn. So that's a thing. Yeah. But on the taste, it doesn't actually taste that much like kettle corn. It's only a little bit of sweetness on there, but it tastes kind of like just a real good caramelly brown ale. Yeah.
Never a bad thing.
Yeah. It's pretty standard on the flavor, but it's not bad at all. So yeah. And it's also 8%. So it'll get you there.
Mhm.
There you go.
So you and me are riding high.
Oh yeah. I believe you have won this round though. Jim, unless Jim can beat an 8.6.
No. Mine only comes in an 8%, but I am keeping it local to California again in a PA crossover episode. And I am drinking the Milk Was a Bad Choice by the Barrel Brothers Brewing Company. It is a peaches and cream milkshake double IPA brewed with peaches, lactose, and vanilla.
Ooh.
So there's the old Ron Burgundy tribute on the can right there. And give you guys a little looky see. It's
Very nice.
Is that all
it's-
sediment?
That's all sediment
Yeah.
floating around in there.
Oh yeah, that's a
There's like
thickie.
no filtering going on right in there.
Yep.
They dropped the orange right in there. But you know what? I gotta say, a lot of milkshake beers like to just say milkshake and say lactose, and they throw it in there, but you never get any hints of it. You definitely get the creaminess from this one, which is nice. But it's kind of weird. It's almost surprising because like you get the orange, you get the cream, but it leaves no mouthfeel on the back of the throat at all. And well, I would comment on the aroma, but I kind of fucked my nose with years of smoking, so I'm not the best source on that one. But when I first poured it, I was like, "Ooh, you get that orange right away." So now this
Very
is
nice.
for a milkshake beer. This is very tasty so far.
Right on.
I assume that was another one that came from the archives.
Oh, from the good men at the Craft Beer Kings, right there.
Yes.
Shameless plug. I get nothing out of this.
Yes.
Hey, neither do we.
Yeah, right. But no, they're good. They're good guys over there. But yeah, no, this is for once the milkshake double IPA that lives up to the name.
Nice.
Cool. Well, then,
right.
let's jump into this segment and get to know the boys from Drink a Beer, Play a Game a little bit better. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about video games as well. But yeah, how long have you guys actually been podcasting? I mentioned that you've been doing it a bit longer than us, but
So we started the site in what was it, 2013, Jim? Like
August
late
of 2013.
Yeah, so 2013, it was really more or less, hey, we want an excuse to get together. We both love video games. We both love beer. Let's just have an excuse, get together, drink beer, play video games. But then it also, I had these like ideas of like, I just want to try more beers and let's do it in an analytical light. At that time, we were still like very high level macro beers, I'll say. Like we had plenty of Trogs or Victory, but like our craft beer inventory was extremely low. And we thought most IPAs were like, God, why do you just want to taste pine like all the time? And then, so it kind of grew into doing beer reviews. We were very, very heavy with our site. Unfortunately, I killed all of our backlog of hundreds of beer reviews we had. And then I'd say it was about 2015 when we did our first podcast,
15 or 16, something like that.
Yeah, and as Jim mentioned, that was more like we want an excuse to talk more, get more content out there, and also like talk about things in the news that are beer or game related. We were terribly inconsistent, as he said, months and months apart on episodes. Sometimes we get 3 or 4 out, and then other times it'd be nothing for months. And I'd say it's really been in the past year, starting last year, that we've been on a weekly basis, and now like staying consistent and trying to really broaden talking to folks like you guys. Definitely want to have you guys on the podcast. And it's just been a fun thing, like now reaching out to, we've had only one brewer on, but we have some reach outs to some other local brewers, a lot of people like on like YouTube, like gaming and creators, and it's just a fun excuse to talk and drink with people. And we always do love getting involved with folks that want to do drinking games with us, because they always feel the wrath of dealing with people who can drink and do it a little more. So yeah, no, it's just a fun time. So really it's a hobby, it's a passion project, and we always tell everyone we're not professionals, but we get killed because nobody understands when we do game reviews. I came up with this thing of let's have a beer requirement meter. Nobody knew what that meant, and they still don't get it. And we say during a video, we're adding a beer because this is terrible or this is good. Like it's celebratory beer, or it's because the game's so shitty you're going to need more beers just to enjoy it. But at the end of every video, we always say we would pair this game with X, Y, or Z. And although it sometimes seems random, I actually spent the time to like inventory every beer style and say, you know what, just on my research and knowledge, here's what type of styles I think complement these play style games. Because you don't want a real heavy beer for a game that's, a very like it's a whatever game. And if you're going to have a beer that's too heavy and you're going to be sipping a lot, you don't want that. If you have a game that you can't pause, you don't want someone who's going to make you pee all the time. So like, I put logic into it, but it's just a fun exercise, I'll say.
Have you thought about just telling people that have all these questions, just read the FAQ?
No, I'm setting one up as we speak.
We tend to fully engage everyone, and sometimes to a fault. I'll say that.
I like your guys' approach of the adding a beer. It sounds very familiar to our friends over at the Hops and Box Office Flops podcast, who do something very similar with movies, where they kind of tell you how many beers deep you need to be to watch this piece of shit.
Yeah.
Right up our alley.
Yeah, we I don't know how familiar you guys are, but I still think the game that holds our record for most beers was the what's that hockey game, Jim? The
Wayne Gretzky's Hockey on the NES.
Yeah, and that was like 17 beers, like something ridiculous. It was just like you can't drink enough to have that game be good.
Yeah, it was definitely a port of like a DOS or like maybe something you'd find on the Amiga, but they tried to shrink it down to 2 buttons, and yeah, that does not work at all.
Yeah.
So I guess that brings up
that.
The next question I have. Do you guys concentrate more on the vintage side of things? Do you stay modern? Do you go console, PC? Is there a particular arena you guys stay in, or just anything and everything?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all over the map is the easy answer. We initially started with this grand idea. We're going to go through every console and like list out the best versions of like every major genre. So like, here's the NES best fighting games, sports games, You realize after you play 22 different baseball games on the NES that can burn you out extremely fast. And you're like, oh, wow, screw this. Let's just now like at least keep a theme. So like the 1 month we're going to do every single Simpsons game, and come to find out there was 28 games, and we did one every day of the month. And it was friggin' brutal. So we've done that a lot of times. Like we'll do Mortal Kombat month, Superman games, yada yada yada. As of recently, it's been a mixture of fan request and just things Jim and I like. We both like, I'll pick a game that I want Jim to try that I really enjoy, and like I said, it spans from really any console that we can get our hands on to brand new games right now.
Right on. Is there any one game that is kind of your holy grail that you haven't been able to get your hands on to be able to review?
Oh God. I mean, for like any of those like astronomical games, like Magical Chase on the TurboGrafx or like Crusader Ascending on the Genesis, but we're talking that like high level, stupid, like expensive thousands of dollars kind of deal there.
Mhm.
For something maybe attainable. Like it was funny. We were recording last night. We had a guest and he was talking about the 32X collection. He has a full set. And I remember like 10 years ago, I was like, oh, I can go for this. I have a job now. And like Spider-Man Web of Fire back then complete, it was like $300. And I was like, that is ridiculous. I will never pay something like that. And now it's worth like 25. So looking back, I wish I just hopped on it. Much like crypto, I wish I hopped on back 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I would say we definitely pull more from games we have experienced. Sometimes we'll try new ones, but part of the fun is when we have people request games. Not saying we ever emulate, but let's just say that if there's a particular NES or Super NES game that's worth stupid amounts of money, there's nothing better than playing it and realizing it's not worth that and pointing that out in the review. People are like, oh, but it's a collector's. It's like, yeah, that doesn't make it fun though. Like at the end of the day, we want a game that's fun, you know?
At that point, buying it is simply a business decision rather than an entertainment decision.
Yeah. And you know, like, I don't know if you guys are like us, but part of the idea is like the fun of sitting down with your buddy, drinking a beer and playing a game is like, you know, you take the game at its face value. Any game could become amazing if you sink 30, 40 hours into it, and you'll find, I mean, if you're willing to, you'll find something to love. But if it doesn't grab you in that first hour and you can't have fun, like, is it that good? It's right. Debatable.
Yeah. And that's essentially how this podcast got started, was us sitting around and talking beer all the time. Well, if we're going to do that, we may as well have fun with it and record it and put it out into the world.
Right.
Yeah. You know, you brought up the 32X, and I got to go back, find a time machine, and warn past me to not throw away his Cosmic Carnage.
Oh.
I could feel that over here.
Oh, I wish. And it's not even that good a game, but God, it's so goofy. I love it. It
was very similar to like Time Killers in the limb removal and shit like that. I had Cosmic Carnage and WWF Raw, and those were my two 32X games I had.
A man of taste, going for the game with Quang.
Hell yeah.
Good old Quang.
Let's put Savio Vega in a mask, and we're gonna make him Japanese. Yeah. Perfect.
But he had the green mist. He had the green mist, and that was the only character that had it.
Yeah.
Can we get Great Muda? No. Can we get Savio Vega? Yes.
Great. So, I mean, we're in the pandemic, right? And that's just the way people have been killing time. I feel like a lot of people have been jumping on video games to kill time. What can people? Is there anything you guys are looking forward to in 2021 to play?
Yeah, I think so. Jim and I are currently going through, and I don't know if you two were ever cursed with trying Donkey Kong 64, but that's a game that from one of our Patreons, they requested we played. Jim got motion sickness apparently from it, yes, so gave it to me. I'm still saying that's bullshit. I'm going through that right now, but we're like finishing out those. We're doing a kind of a spring cleaning on Mortal Kombat games because we did all the main titles. And then there's all the terrible offshoots, I'll call them. And I think with the anniversary of Mortal Kombat coming up and the release of the movie, we're like kind of getting that out of the way. And then we just have some more like, once again, kind of going back to our theme months, and Jim and I kind of giving each other little themes. But for right now, those are the two like big items on the agenda of reviews. And I'm also the one that does like our Twitch channel. So every Thursday I do a horror game because that's my genre. I love horror games. And outside of that, just like dicking around on Call of Duty with friends or, whatever.
Yeah. So, everybody's got to get that Special Forces review in before the movie comes out. But
yep,
I've already gone through it. Brian can yell at me about Donkey Kong, but I've gone through, in the past couple of months, I've gone through Special Forces and Mythologies. So I paid my dues.
But so obviously, Brian, you're probably excited for the new Resident Evil 8 that's coming out.
Oh yeah, that game looks. I mean, Resident Evil 7. That whole series took such a crazy left turn with 4 turning it to action, and 4 was a great game, but then 7 came along, introduced horror again. So 8 is like it's bringing everyone back, and apparently everyone's all really hopped up because there's a 9-foot tall, big titty vampire lady, and that was like the meme for the longest time. And Jim is the internet guy, thank God, especially on Twitch or on Twitter. But man, I saw the reactions for that stuff. And I was like, it's a video game, guys. Let's calm down.
Right, don't try to sound cool. The whole time you were playing through 7, you're like, what this needs is more Amazon tits. I was like, Brian, calm down a little bit. You're like, no.
Brian, we've all been there. I can't throw shade.
I can't throw shade with my collection.
We know that, Jim.
I think my favorite meme to come out of that one, I wish I would have saved it to bring it up, but it's that kind of infamous porn still of the large redheaded
woman
lady
holding up this small girl.
Yes. Yes. Lauren Phillips is her name.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, Lauren Phillips. Yeah.
Jim's like, it's actually at minute 3 22 seconds in.
Look, bro, I'm not going to say that's not my home screen or anything, but
that really captured people's imaginations. I'll say that image. So hey,
right.
good for her.
I love how they don't put any updates out for like the countdown until today, which happens to be 69 days until release. And they put a big thing out there with, Amazon mommy milkers saying 69 right there. It's like this is why you guys are successful.
Jim, are you saying they did it on purpose?
Winky dink.
Yeah.
Awful convenient.
They're wholesome boys over at Capcom.
Yeah.
So like Nintendo and PlayStation both just had like kind of events showcasing new things coming out. Were you guys impressed by anything from that?
Well, go ahead, Jim. I know you have some thoughts on that.
Really, I didn't pay as much attention to Sony since I'm not going to have a PS5 for a while. I'll say I'll get a PS5. I'm probably going to skip Xbox this gen unless just for Call of Duty for us. I can get both, whatever. But for like the Switch one, it was more like I was like, oh, cool. I knew this is me with my weird taste. I'm like, a new NES golf game kind of deal. And like Stubbs to Zombie getting ported finally, which that's like a crazy expensive game now on the original Xbox. So it's cool to see a goofy old hard title like that finally get like a re-release. So it's weird with Nintendo, the way it's such a slow drip with like any mainline release that you can't even there's no hype for any real title. Like they didn't show anything Zelda. They didn't show like Metroid Prime 4. Mario's getting another Wii U re-release, that kind of deal. So it's like a weird holding pattern there. Like all the major companies, like you can definitely tell the Corona bug hit them hard now because in 2020, they could release everything that was already in production or close to being done. Where now for everything coming out this year, it's like, they're all programming over Zoom. Like that sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah. You got to report into like a Scrum board and like, hey, I got this done. Okay, well, we're waiting for a bunch of other people. Yeah, that sounds like a terrible.
Yeah, you're designing the next like Uncharted game via TPS reports. Like, yeah, I don't envy them at all. But yeah, like there's nothing that really like super jumped out. But it is like it's also weird that PlayStation's almost in that weird holding pattern that Xbox was with the Xbox One when it came out, where not a lot of first party titles. You're getting a lot of ports and upgraded ports of last gen titles, but everyone's just in a weird holding pattern right now.
Yeah, when I always warn people when new gens of systems come out, and as guys that love video games, I still say wait a little bit because everything is generally ported to the system you have. Wait till there's an actual reason, enough games, enough inventory, and you're going to save some money on the upfront cost. Not stand in lines, especially during a pandemic. So yeah, just wait till it's a little bit cheaper and more games come out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was the only, and I assume the Xbox did something similar. I'm more of a PlayStation person, but like there was the one thing I did like about the PS5, even though I'm not going to get one like Jim for a long time, but they had that kind of instant library of like past PS4 games if you just happen to, not hit some of them. But like
Yeah,
I have such a backlog from PS Plus that I have no urge to go get a PS5 because they just put out Final Fantasy VII Remake as a free game this month. Why the fuck do I that's 80 more hours of my life on this damn thing.
Yeah.
And it's funny to see, like, it's like a sign of the times because they're giving you, even if you have a PS5, the PS Plus version's the PS4 version. But if you want to get like all the like the UFI download and like the DLC and the new stuff, you're going to have a PS5 for that. So it's almost like they're turning DLC into a selling point for new consoles now. Like,
yeah.
It's like the weirdest kind of incremental jump instead of just like, oh, here's like the new game.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It's not going to bother me because I assume by the time I get a PS5, then all of that will just come in a bundle for $29. So
Always does. Dude,
For
every new game comes out and like within 3 months at this point, it's at least half off. It's kind of, unless you're Nintendo, but
right. Adam, though, just to jump back to Switch releasing the new golf game, Adam, you might want to pick it up because it's the like Mario and Wario essentially look like John Daly and Greg Norman. So
I'm in for that. Yeah, I'm in for that. So I guess one thing is there any dead series or any dead titles that you'd like to see get remade or updated?
Do you have anything, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, we actually just talked about this yesterday. So I'm waiting for it to still come out, but we've been waiting for a lot of Konami titles to come back to life because their IP has been sitting because they want to make their goddamn, what are they called, Jim? The Pachinko machines, because they found that was more profitable than making video games. So like a good Castlevania, Silent Hill, like those games, I want to see them come back. And it looks like they actually may be willing to part ways with their IP so that they can actually release those. I'm all for those. Konami, I feel like from the NES is one of the gems of developers. And fortunately for the past 5-6 years, even more, they've fallen on hard times.
Yeah.
They've just been relying on those Japanese casinos.
Exactly.
Pretty much, yeah. That's
I
what it
will
turns
say,
into.
I've played before the pandemic hit. I played some Konami slot machines down in Atlantic City. They did better for me than a lot of the other ones. So,
damn it, Jim!
Konami did nothing wrong.
Stop feeding the machine.
Now I know. Now I agree. He would stay at platform.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, I'm a total scab.
He's basically AB InBev.
But wait, that's the other side of my shirt right now. But speaking of Konami, like I would love to see like another Gradius or like with Nintendo, give us another fucking F-Zero. It's been 20 years.
Yes.
For the love of God. Like it's so many like of these loved franchises that just like they're all dormant. Like we talked again about Twisted Metal's getting a TV show before they're getting a new game, and it's been 10 years since the last one of them. Like there's so many like licenses out there that just could easily get something that no one does anything with. Where shit, like, you're lucky to get like a Spyro collection or a Ratchet and Clank, HD upgrade. And you hope they just sell enough to like, give that little spark like Crash got to get like a Crash 4.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's always never say never with the industry, but it's also like, it's just such weird times that, okay, you know what, fuck it, give me F-Zero. I'm going to shut up. I'm just going to say F-Zero.
You know what? That is the right answer.
Thank
Jim,
you.
you answered that correctly. F-Zero needs to come back. I don't care what anybody says. It's been way too long.
And I want Sega to do it again because they did the best one, showing up Nintendo. So, of course, they have to do it one more time.
All right, Jim, calm your tits with that comment.
GX is the best one,
All right, so one kind of last question for the segment, but it should be an easy one. What is your go-to beer when you're gaming?
Shit.
I'll give you a little bit of time to think, but I appreciate on your YouTube channel trailer that one of the first shots is of a lion's head case.
Yep. Lion's head all the way.
That took me right back to college there immediately.
So that was a deliberate choice. When we were setting up that shot that whole day, and it's funny in that trailer, I have to give Jim shit because we had my buddy who actually was a professional cinematographer who like did wedding videos and all this stuff. I worked with him. He now actually shoots for the Eagles and does all their special promos. So he's legit. Me and Jim, we got a call time. Like, I'm going to be over at your place at this time. This asshole stays asleep, doesn't answer his phone. His then girlfriend at the time, now wife, was like, I had to go drive 20 minutes away, get the key from her. On the way back to his house, I got hit by a car full of 90-year-old ladies. I show up and he's just waking up like, oh, I drank too much the night before. So in some of the shots, like when I'm pulling him out of bed and throwing a beer at his balls, I purposely was like, we need to do another shoot so I can keep doing this to you, like torturous shit. But yeah, Lion's Head, Jim and I have always argued for a beer that costs $14 for a case, the quality of that lager, man, it's damn good.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to your original question, see, I love imperial stouts. I love regular stouts too, but I definitely won't say that's my go-to. Like I am, you guys might fall in the same category. I fall from the problem of I always want to try something new. I almost very rarely go back. Like, and I will like try any beer, but like if it's a debate of like I'm going to a bottle shop and if it's something I had, or I'm trying something new, I almost always try something new.
I am the same way. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's like doing these kind of sites and these podcasts, your brain can't shut off. Like I can't tell you the last time I didn't drink a beer without being semi-analytical about it. Like unless it's something I've already had.
You can't just shut up and drink.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the same with video games, unfortunately, too. So it's like I don't even have an opinion on it because I'm so often having my fridge filled with like, this is a new beer. I'll just try this. But if I had my way, I'd probably go with some kind of like stout or imperial stout.
Fair enough. Jim?
Yeah, it's almost by like proxy because for a while at the end of last year, I was doing a lot of Let's Plays just to have something to put up on a Monday.
Jam your Keystone Light.
Oh, I was going to get to that, Brian. Please, I have to build myself up before I knock myself down. So, yeah, like I was having a lot of leftover like chocolate stouts, the kind of things that I would only need like one or two of just to have that mouthfeel the entire time I'm playing. But yeah, if I'm just by myself and I'm going to drink, I typically keep to the cheapo shitto like Keystone Lights. I love me a cheap Garbo beer. Like, I'm a scumbag through and through when it comes to that. And like I keep the fancy stuff for the podcast and when we record or if we're doing like a drinking event and stuff like that. And actually, because my cup size is way bigger than I want it to be in my mid-30s, I actually barely drink anymore unless it's when I'm doing any kind of content creation, we can say, or if I have like a buddy over for a Flyers game. So for the most part, like I'm almost not drinking, but when I do, if I'm going to be playing for long, I'm going to keep it like light with pounders, or if I'm doing like site stuff, then I just go through my mixed boxes. And I love the mixed boxes. I'm like all of you guys where I want to try something new if I'm going to like really sit down and want to enjoy a beer.
Right on.
Jim, it's funny. I've said many times, I'm fine with you drinking your Keystone, your cheap shit. I'm not okay when you're like, but White Claws are refreshing. I'm like, you can't be saying that.
In the middle of summer.
No, it's not acceptable. You can have so many other styles of beer or anything.
When my balls are as sweaty as my head, they're very light and refreshing and they feel great.
No,
put that on a t-shirt.
Yes.
How am I not hired for PR at this point? I don't get it.
That's how you sell it. That's how you sell it to guys who say water.
Yeah, it's true.
Hey, when I'm home, when I'm home and I need a towel for my balls.
Yeah, I'm Yenzers and your damn French
Listen,
fry
mayo
sandwiches.
French fries. All right.
It's French fries on the salad and French fries on the sandwich. You get it right.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of getting it right, I think
Yeah.
we should talk about our beers a little bit here.
As quick as we can.
Yep.
Yes.
I'll go first, actually.
All right.
Crunchbot by Rusty Rail Brewing. Hey, it's a brown ale. It tastes like a brown ale. It's really good. Even though it smells like kettle corn, it isn't that all that sweet. So yeah, very drinkable for an 8%. I say check it out.
Right on. Right on. Brian, how about you? If
Yeah.
you have any left?
Yeah, no, it's all gone. This is delicious. I'd give it like a 7.5 out of 10.
Ooh.
It's dangerously smooth for as strong as it is, and the stickiness never goes away, but very good. I'll definitely be trying more out of the Urban Village Brewing.
Awesome. And that was the first time you've had anything by them, correct?
Yeah, very first time. So
All right.
Yeah.
What Jim, how about you? How about your California special?
your orange juice.
Yes. You know what? Goddamn delicious orange juice. I will say right now, this is probably my favorite milkshake double IPA I've had so far. And I've probably had about at least 5 to 10 between that range. So it actually gives you the creaminess. As you get further down, you definitely get more of the hop flavor sticking to the back of your throat. So it's almost like a slow burn in that sense, but it's never overpowering. So if you're in the mood for something lactosey, this is the one to go for.
Very nice. Very
Dope.
nice. As
And your
for
flam
me,
basted?
the flam basted by Spoonwood. This is the kind of beer. This is a dessert beer. You're only gonna have one. It does have a good level of thickness to it. If you are borderline about whether or not you like bananas, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. You do have to like bananas to drink this beer, which I know is a dumb thing to say, but there are people out there that will complain, hey, you didn't tell me it tasted like bananas, even though it says Banana Foster's right on the label. But no, it's a good beer. If you like a good Bananas Foster dessert, get this beer. I only think you're going to be able to drink one. If you drink more than one, that's on you. I think it's best enjoyed as just the one and done. But
Okay.
overall, no, it's a good beer. I like it.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll be back with segment 3. We're going to bring back an old segment that we've done in the past. Stay tuned to find out what it is. Welcome back to episode 191 of the Hop Nation USA podcast. It's segment 3, and we're still with the guys from Drink a Beer, Play a Game. They hail from the land of Wawa and tasty cakes and proper cheesesteaks. As much as we bash on Philly, I'll never deny that they have the best cheesesteaks.
We know how to be fat.
That's PA solidarity.
That's
Goddamn right.
We're trying, damn it.
Look, you put fries on anything, I'll eat it, so I can't bash it there.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying we don't have our own cuisine. I mean, we'll fuck up a pierogi and some stuffed cabbage. You know, you guys.
I do love me some pierogies.
Yeah, you guys want some Lishki? We'll fuck you lives up. It's Lishki season, damn it.
All right, when lockdown lifts, we're all going to have to meet up and just bring all of our wares together, bring our favorite brews, bring our favorite local dishes, and do it right.
We'll meet halfway at State College, and we'll go to Are You Hungry?
Yeah. Jim, are you going to actually drink PA beers that time, or are you going to keep it for California?
Yes, I will drink PA beers that time. And do I dare say that's a good segue? Because I'm drinking a PA beer right now.
Hey.
Coming to us from the Victory Brewing Company. This is a leftover I had from the Christmas season. This is their Merry Monkey.
Hells yes.
So,
Nice.
Belgian style ale with cranberry, orange peel, cinnamon, and nutmeg. 10% alcohol by volume. Beat that.
I don't want to try. I mean,
Oh, fine. I don't have a problem. But no, what do you call it? You even with a terrible nose like I have, you get that cranberry right in the face. Like the cranberry and the orange just hits you with that fruity feel. Super smooth to drink, like most stuff from Victory. You know, nice little translucent beer right there, and it's supremely drinkable. It's not boozy at all for 10%. Like it just goes down so smooth.
Very nice. Brian, how about you? What do you got from that side of the state?
so yeah, I'm sticking with the PA. I'm going from Doylestown, the Radiant Beer Project. They actually opened during the pandemic. This beer is called the Predestined Visitor. It's their New England style IPA, 6.3%, the haziest of all the beers that I've drank in so far tonight. And I was saying to the guys before we started, in the foam, unfortunately, you can't see from a picture, the amount of just green hop residue it's like the entire head, it was almost has a green tinge because of so much sediment from, I guess, the hops. So far, it has a very citrusy kind of fruity flavor. I'm going to wait to give any other opinions about it because they are a microbrewery and I know they just started, but I'm going to see how it settles at the bottom.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Steve, how about you? What do you got going on?
I am also drinking PA, and I have a beer from a brewery that we've made an effort to feature more. It is from Hop Farm. It's their Cocamora.
Yeah.
It is a toasted coconut porter, and holy shit, I don't remember. It was within the past 3 episodes, but I had coconut beer on here, and I was complaining because it smelled like suntan lotion and it tasted like suntan lotion.
I believe that was the offering from who the hell was that? They make Dale's Pale Ale.
Oscar Blues, yeah.
Oscar
Death by
Blues.
Coconut.
Why did I have a brain fart on Oscar Blues? Holy shit.
I don't know. I didn't remember either. But yeah,
All right then.
they're death
We're
by
both dumb.
Yeah, the Death by Coconut.
Yes, that was it.
Kokomora, not terrible. Kokomora is amazing. It like Adam, you'd love this beer if you've never had it before, because I mean, you brewed. That's one of your big recipes is you have a toasted coconut porter in
Yes,
your
and
in your
I'm somewhat
pocket.
proud of that. So I'm gonna have to go find that.
It's a good one. It's a good one. Unfortunately, this is better.
I mean, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, but I mean, if if Malcolm Fraser, who is the guy who was behind Fatheads for a while, he's now brewing at Hop Farm. Yeah, this beer has an amazing roasty back end to it, and you get the right amount coconut flavor, and it's not like overly sweet. So if you're somebody who hates coconut, you're still going to hate this beer. But if you don't want suntan lotion, garbage, this is it.
I'm in love with that can right now. I love that throwback to South Park Canadians drawn on the coconut right there. That is
Absolutely
that's
perfect.
fantastic.
And of course, the tie-in with Moana.
It's all there. It's all there. But yeah, 7.5 on the ABV. So yes,
Nice.
Jim does win this round.
Yes, I am the superior
Or
drunk.
does he?
Oh,
There's one more.
Oh,
There is
Adam.
one more. So this is a bit of an homage to the 100th episode of your Power Hour, where you guys had a vintage
Ooh.
Mad Elf.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, mine is not quite as vintage as yours is. This is a 2017
Oh.
version.
Still,
I believe
Solid.
yours was a 2011. And speaking of 11, this clocks in at 11% ABV.
Screw you, Jim.
Whoops.
I bring the PA. I bring the alcohol. I think I have it. Take it from me at the end.
We've
No,
got the
good
Ronnie
man.
Hextalls. We got the fry sandwiches. We've got the Mad Elf. Pittsburgh wins the game.
Just keep taking and taking.
It's my show. I'm not allowed to lose.
Fine, just you fucking wait until you're on our goddamn show.
But I mean, it's Trogs, it's Mad Elf, it's delicious. I don't know that I had to explain it. If you're in Pennsylvania, you haven't had Mad Elf, that's on you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
we
have to
talk
go
about
get it.
like gateway drug beers, especially for like the craft beer thing, with the exception of maybe like one person ever. Like you throw a macro fan a Mad Elf, and then they're just like, "Oh my god, this is delicious," and then they're just hooked from there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, until they get done with the third one, and then they're done for
Yeah.
the night.
Well,
Well,
then
yeah.
they don't say anything. It's just
Yeah, that's up there with like the Merry Monks, where after you have 3, then you're just like, "Oh, tomorrow's gonna be hell," but
Yeah.
it's worth it.
I said
Yeah.
Golden Monkey was my that was the one that switched me, and I was like, it's only whatever 9%. That's not that bad. And yeah, 3 in, I'm like feeling like an idiot. So yeah,
yeah. I'll say, you know what? 2020, I didn't have any Trogs, Mad Elf, because I was into that Victory Merry Monkey. That's
Dude, it's
That was-
surprisingly good.
It's really good. But now I'm excited for 2021 because I got to drink them both.
yep.
In the same
there
night.
you go. And I actually I have like a 12 pack of, I didn't even know they did cans now, but we're at like, as we know as PA boys, just in the past few years, they finally put beer into supermarkets. So
Yeah.
they had a 12 pack there of cans of Trogs Mad Elf. And I was like, well, I'm going to grab this and hold on to this for a while. So that'll be my 2021 vintage brew that I can have to go
Nice.
back the year before. And
Nice.
I'll save one or two of the Merry Monkeys. And then I can have a little comparison going on there.
Nice
I like
vertical.
And then wash it down with the cool Keystone Light,
Ugh.
as I tend to do.
Damn it, Jim.
Look,
Like
I have
you'd-
to disappoint them.
Like you'd even be able to taste it at that point. At that point, it really does become water.
Oh no, at that point you just pour it right in the toilet because it's the same clearness at that point.
Yeah, if you're drinking Keystone after drinking all that high ABV shit, all you're doing is filtering beer for them.
Yep.
Yeah, you're preventing a hangover at that point.
Yes.
All right. Well, it is segment 3, and it's time to have a little bit of fun because that's what we do because we've been drinking. So now it's not the time to think real hard. But we have Jim and Brian, and they really know video games much more than I do, much more than Adam does. But in the past on this show, we've done a little game and a little thought experiment where we have created our own beer-themed video games. And so I wanted to bring that back. Usually we do this around E3 time, but I don't think E3 is happening ever again. I'm
Canceled.
concerned.
Got canceled for this year. Probably rest in peace going forward.
Yeah, it's not a concern. So we'll do it with the guys who actually know beer and video games. With that in mind, though, I don't want to copy what we've done in the past. So I'll let Jim and Brian in. In the past, we've done a JRPG that
Brew Saga, like
Nice.
the goal was to raid various dungeons and find the most a high-end loot to create beers with.
like it.
And then the other game that we did was pretty much based on Pokemon.
That's awesome.
But the goal was you started as a home brewer and you were looking to basically gather monster recipes and come up with the greatest beer and become the best there ever was.
That is a perfect outfit for Ash right there too.
Yes.
I will neither confirm nor deny that I have that same exact shirt.
If I could grow a beard, I would do the same.
Every brewer has that shirt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but so yes, going forward though, if we can try to avoid the JRPG and Pokemon kind of themes, do you guys have any ideas for beer-themed video games?
Yeah, and Jim, I'll go first before you give your beer porn game.
He's not wrong.
Rule number 1, no tentacles.
Yeah.
There's no tentacles. I will say that.
So we've discussed similar, but I put a little more thought into this, and one of the thoughts I had, taking a slightly different direction, going back to the NES style games. Think of Kung Fu. So the old classic style of you going from level to level, you're going through, fighting through people, you get to a boss, then you move on to the next level. Obviously, Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon was copying that style with that movie. So keep it easy, call it drunk food, call it whatever you want. But essentially, you fight through the level, and similar to many games, your power-ups are different beers. So when you drink a hoppy beer, you can jump higher. When you drink a stout, you're a little stronger. And every boss is a classic video game drunk. So like Bo Rai Cho from Mortal Kombat, or Jim, you're gonna have to remind me from Tekken, who's the guy that drinks, or Virtual Fighter, I'm sorry.
Whoa, the fucking the old guy shit.
You know who I'm talking. It's like Win something, but yes. Yeah. So basically, you fight all these different video game drunks like Duke Nukem, all these crazy guys. But in between, a la Punch Out style, your training montage is the Tapper arcade game where you're throwing beers, and that's your training segment. And you basically level up by drinking enough beers, and you have certain little stacks you have to build up. It's a complete throwback to NES style. It's a goofy thing, but it would do just a minimal amount of education of like, here's like different types of beers that give you different power ups. Like sours would, I guess, give you kind of like an electricity to your punches and kicks. So yeah, that's what I always thought would be a quick, simple go-to.
Nice.
Yeah. I think to add to that, like you're talking that old school game Tapper, and we've brought that up in the past when we talked this, but because it's like one of the few beer games that's out there.
Yeah.
But I think an interesting mechanic to that is if like you could drink a flight in a certain order, so it's almost like a puzzle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that would be great. And did you guys? So speaking of beer, so it's like that's one of the things we've covered on our site is different either video game drunks or bars and video games or whatever. But one of the games I was amazed how deep they went into their beer. Did you ever hear of the game Charlie Murder?
I have not.
No. What is
so
that?
It is think Scott Pilgrim versus the World style game. It's a beat 'em up, like you're a band that goes through and is fighting this like post-apocalyptic world, but you end up brewing all these different beers that give you power-ups, and they have very specific names like such and such red ale gives you, you know, this and that. It goes really like actually crazy in depth for like beer brewing, and it just is thrown in there as almost it's like an afterthought, but it's a really, really fun game that no one talks about. And I played it and I was like, man, like this is like perfect. Like if you like beer and you're into that kind of like beat 'em up style, that's a perfect segue. So yeah, Charlie Murder. If they're by Ska Studio, who's done like Salt and Sanctuary and other games like that.
And that was on the original NES?
No, that was on like 360, and you could probably get on Xbox One or PS4 now.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes, it appears to be on Xbox Live and probably just on the PC. So yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I've never heard of that game, but that it sounds like it would be pretty cool to check out.
If you like music, beer, and just beat 'em ups, it's for you.
Nice.
Well, yeah, Streets of Rage 4 was kind of the best game that kind of got everybody through the pandemic.
Thank
So
you.
yeah.
That was easily my favorite game from last year.
Don't feed Jim. Well, that Jim, was it that or was it Hentai Adventures?
No. That was called Waifu Uncovered. It was a delightful little single screen shmup where you have to blast clothes off. What? Man,
Streets of Rage 4.
Ryan. Yeah, no, it was Streets of Rage 4 was fan. That was my game of the year last year. So by far.
Yeah. That game was so great. It was so fun and just like such a throwback, and they captured it everything perfectly.
Oh, dude,
So-
they fucking nailed it, man.
Yeah.
And
I
like
loved it.
everyone saw it and they're like, oh, I'm kind of worried about the graphic style and like, can they recapture it? No, they did it.
Yeah. I think it was because like Double Dragon Neon came out, and like most people said it wasn't really true to form.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't get into it. I didn't play it because everybody was like, nah. And I was like, well, all right.
Go with the crowd.
Yeah. I just,
Yeah, right.
I just don't have money to throw at guesses. You know? I need definitive. This is great. And I go, yes,
Yeah.
okay.
You're like, God damn it, there's beer to buy.
That's right. There are
Exactly.
priorities to be made.
Exactly. Jim, what is your game idea?
All right. Before I go on, these opinions are all my own. They do not reflect Top Nation USA. So my game is going to be called the Greg Koch Simulator. And for those who do not know,
Oh no.
Greg Koch is the head of the Stone Brewing, the man who has been embroiled in a delightful lawsuit with one of my favorite trash beers of Keystone Light. So if there's one thing I've seen throughout this entire court case is that he likes to do one of two things: jerk himself off or throw cease and desist to smaller breweries who like to use Stone in their name in any way whatsoever. So I have devised the Greg Koch Simulator. This will be a Nintendo Switch exclusive using the HD Rumble features of
Already
the dual
terrible.
Joy-Cons. Brian, hold on. And this will be a game that any drunk can play, where you can take turns, and basically it's a score attack game. It's an old school, think of the carnivals, like shooting ducks with a gun, that style of gallery shooter game. But in the right hand, you have cease and desist forms that you throw at all different breweries, and it'll all be made up ones. It won't be real life ones with custom logos put there. And in the left hand, you'll have to keep a certain motion going, possibly jerking himself off the entire time, which is the source of his power. So you can't go too slow or else you'll get bored and you'll run out of energy. But you can't go too fast or you'll finish too early and you'll get out of energy. So you have to keep that going at a certain pace, almost edging yourself the whole time while trying to take down the little guy after little guy. And that is the Greg Koch Simulator, which you can buy on the Nintendo Switch eShop for $9.99. Thank you. Good night.
Why do I feel like this just turned into a deleted scene from Silicon Valley?
Yeah.
The thing is, like, the mechanics are there.
Makes sense.
Like,
But the spite is there too.
right? Yeah, there's definitely the spite, but also the mechanics. It sounds a little too advanced for the Switch. It sounds more like a Flash game or a Newgrounds game, where you're just trying to jerk off and not get caught, but then not go over.
Well, I was raised on Newgrounds, so maybe that is where the inspiration.
Yeah.
came
I'm
from.
just I mean, I guess incorporating the motion controls is what makes it next gen. But yeah, it just sounds like I'm jerking off trying to not get caught, and then I got to deal out these lawsuits.
Obviously you can't miss all the guys going across the screen.
Right.
There, so.
Right. Yeah. So you're using two hands at once. I mean, yeah. All right.
Full immersion.
The video game version of rubbing your belly and patting your head at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see why it couldn't be released on the Oculus.
Or
That would be
HTC
fascinating
Vive
to watch.
have the top of the line graphics. If you want to spend $2,000 on it.
Yeah. It's like there's no reason it can't be an Oculus game, but sure.
All you got to do is you just have 50 copies that are $5,000 each.
Yep.
There you go.
Made your money.
Well, of
right
course,
there.
it's got to have its limited run thing.
Absolutely.
Of course, it might be one of the lower tier limited run things, but you never know.
Jim, you think?
What?
Here's the one problem with your game, Jim.
There's one.
The one I see is that you're going to get sued by Greg Koch.
Yeah, exactly. That's the irony.
Yeah, you have to call it Greg Pepsi's Boulder Adventure.
Yeah.
No, it's the Craig Koch simulator. So
Either
someone
way.
completely different.
That situation. Have you guys, by the way, seen that, like, aside from the Keystone stuff, but like when he was suing those smaller breweries and like what was happening with that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like that's the thing, when you have a legal team as big as his, like it just kind of gets set on automatic, almost like like Facebook and Twitter, the way their algorithms censor people. They just see Stone and they sue. They don't.
They don't try to work with them or anything.
and there's no kind of like discrepancy. You know, they don't take the discrepancy to go, it's a small brewery in West Virginia. What the fuck do we care? No, it's gotta fucking get them the same way we get Keystone.
And that's like where my problem came with it, because like their whole PR campaign when they started the Keystone lawsuit, which, hey, if that's your thing, go for it. Like, I don't think it's a good lawsuit, but that's beyond the point. But don't build yourself up as the fighter for the little guy while trying to just constantly take down the little guy just because they used one of the most common words in the world. So,
Right.
You can't have it both ways.
Yeah. Also, like, at what point do we say, Stone, are you really a little guy anymore? Like,
Yeah. Well, they're definitely not. I mean,
they're not,
They
but
haven't been.
Yeah, it's like they still, I think, try to keep the legal definition of a craft brewery, and I'm like, but are you really, like at what point is like you're distributing nationwide? Like, are you really still?
Aren't they the sixth like biggest brewer in the whole country? 6th or 8th? Like they're top 10.
Yeah, they're definitely top 10, and it's just one of those things where like the Brewers Association sets what is called independent, and like Stone still falls under that independent because Boston Beer Company, which is Sam Adams, Dogfish Head, and Yingling
still fall. Yeah.
They just keep moving the goalposts.
Yeah, they
Make
move
sure
the
that they're under
goalposts
that
for
umbrella.
those two. So then, of course, Stone falls under it.
But I'm fine with the Yingling because that's PA.
As you've got your can of Screaming Eagle yet, the mango.
By the way, speaking of when we were talking about the Lion's Head, have you guys tried their Stagmeyer stuff?
No.
What's the Stagmeyer stuff?
So Stagmeyer is Lion's Head has a offshoot. It's called Stagmeyer, and they make other more exclusive beers. Like they make an IPA, they make a pumpkin beer, whatever.
I knew that they were expanding their portfolio.
Yeah, so I first tried like 4 years ago. Like my brother told me about it. They're like, yo, you like, try this. Still that dirt cheap price, but they almost have every specialty like Oktoberfest, pumpkin, whatever. And I gotta be honest, they're pretty damn good. But Stagmeyer is essentially Lions Brewing, just like their little offshoot, if you will.
Yeah. I knew that was like an old brand that they owned, but I haven't seen any of that stuff out here. So I get like, I don't even know if they necessarily own it or if they contract brew it for another company. I'm not
sure. Yeah,
I'm not clear either.
But yeah, I tried. I was like, man, that shit's actually not bad.
Yeah.
It sounds an awful lot like they're going after the Aldi's market.
Yeah. I did try like their double IPA. That was like $9 for a 6-pack. I didn't love it.
Yeah.
I mean, they made a really boozy IPA, but it was like really, really like it tasted like fire. It was not great.
It was really $9 for a 6-pack.
Yeah, it was really $9 for a 6-pack for a double IPA. That's the crazy, you know.
That's yeah.
Yeah, you get the rocket fuel, but it is a little rough.
And at that point, you just go back to the original Lion's Head.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And do you guys get the same thing? Jim and I talked about this with a lot of people. No one could. I forget who agreed with us. Original Lion's Head. I swear to God, sometimes I get the flavor of the popcorn butter, like the popcorn oil. Like it tastes almost identical, like from movie theater. And somebody actually broke it down and said that is a chemical reaction. It was actually with the head brewer.
It was when we had Hannah.
Yeah. She said, no, that's a real thing. What it is a breakdown. And like, she made it, you know, it's way above our stupid heads.
Right.
Yeah,
But
It's I guess you could call it a mistake. It shouldn't be like that.
It shouldn't be like
Right.
that. She's like, yeah, but it's actually kind of common in some line take, because some people are like, it tastes like movie theater popcorn sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's not every batch, but like, yeah, I've had it. And I'm like, people think I'm crazy. I'm like, I swear to God, that's what it tastes like.
Yeah, that's an oops.
Yeah, it's a thing that can happen. It's not usually supposed to, but if you're smart enough, you can make your brews consistently like that and do that. But yeah, I've noticed that a couple times where it's just like, it's interesting. I don't think it's supposed to do that.
Listen, if you're drinking Lion's Head, though, you're also just so focused on those puzzles that you don't
Oh,
care
yeah.
about the flavor.
Boot, checkerboard, what?
All right, I have a game to pitch. Like I said, we've done the JRPG stuff and everything. I have a game that will help everybody out, and if we could release it tomorrow or even, you know, last year, it would have been great. But it's taking the new kind of the new concept of open world games that have oversaturated the market. But this one is a direct ripoff of Far Cry, except for it's called Barfly.
Ooh.
Makes perfect sense.
But it works off the mechanic of the original GTA games, which, if you remember, you could
top down.
Yeah, the top down ones. You could work for specific groups. So you could work for the I believe the Maibatsu Yakuza, and like there was a couple other groups you could work for and then do missions for them. Instead, in Barfly, you pick a brewery that you want to work for and you complete missions for them, like disrupting their canning lines or firebombing any of their queues for their FOMO releases or drunk driving into their storefront, you know?
Oh, that old chestnut.
Yeah. That
I
so
like it.
It's mixing Far Cry and GTA a little bit, and you get to have all the experience of going into tap rooms that you missed out on 2020.
And you could also do like a DLC pack where you're just like a bar hopping DLC. We're just going from like thing to thing and for all the wacky adventures you can get into.
Right.
None of us there.
Yeah, and then there's going to be obvious muling DLC where you have to bring back cases from Trillium and Treehouse. You have to bring it into your home state.
Oh,
Like you said, go into a tap house, you take off your mask and you cough in front of everyone and
Right.
clear it out.
Right, you have to shut down their business for a week.
Yeah.
You can go around and attaching bombs to food trucks so they can't show up to the breweries.
Mhm.
Yes,
I like that.
no, I like that. That's some good capitalism right there.
Yes, Barfly extra vice.
So for me,
Coming
I
never.
kind of went a little bit in the same direction with the open world, but instead of going Far Cry, I actually went with something a little older with Crazy Taxi,
Oh,
where instead of trying to destroy businesses, I'm trying to help the breweries that I'm working for and distributing beer and making deliveries.
Okay.
I don't have a
no,
good
that's a
name
genius
for it.
idea.
Ooh, let's see. Crazy Taxi. That could be
It could also just be wacky Uber, where you deliver people to the next bar room.
There's that too.
Delivering drunk. That's where I thought you were going. Like deliver, like the Uber thing, like delivering drunk people from bar to bar. The bar crawl taxi, if you will.
Now we could run with that a little bit, and what we could do is we could make things more difficult. You know, if you pick up a really drunk passenger, they'll try to grab the wheel from you or something,
And
so you don't have control.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or as the Uber driver, as you go to the spot where they're supposed to stand still, obviously they're not, so they just start going. But your marker is still in a spot where they're supposed to be. So you start, especially for the higher end levels, trying to go down these little corners and alleyways and be like, where the fuck is this guy?
And all you get are text messages popping up. I'm right here.
Where are you?
I'm right here.
And if they throw up in the car, then you have to run it through a washing service, before you can pick up your next fare, or else nobody's gonna get into.
Oh.
No one wants to stinky cab. You're right.
You can't get that rating reduced. So yeah, there you go.
All right, we're throwing my idea out. We're running with this one then.
I like wacky Uber.
Man, but will you still have Offspring All I Want on the soundtrack?
Yeah. Why would...
I mean, that's why you bring it back. It's for the soundtrack.
Yeah.
If you don't have Offspring, Bad Religion, and what was the other one? Shit. It was only like 3 songs that looped the entire time, but never got sick of them somehow.
Aye. Well, I think we came up with 4 pretty good games. So yeah.
Thank you for including mine in that.
But we can agree that Jim's is the worst, right?
Sure. I mean, the mechanics are there, but fuck, yeah.
No, it's
when the episode comes out and that whole part's blanked out, I'll understand.
It's the best one, and it's super exclusive because there's only 350 available.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
He's got the FOMO on his game.
So
Yeah.
at patreon.com/HobNationUSA, you can get this entire segment.
And each case was aged in rum barrels, so it was extra special.
And so if 18 months from now we can release it and charge double.
There you go.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, I want to thank Brian and Jane. Fucking tongue got tied on that one. I want to thank Brian and Jim for coming on again. And guys, just take a minute to plug where everybody can find you. YouTube, Twitter, all of them.
Nah, that's ruined my bit. Once again, thank you guys so much for having us on. This was a ton of fun. We'd love to have you on our show, like Brian said. And if you want to find us, youtube.com/drinkabeerandplayagameofficial, Twitter @abeerandagame, Facebook and Instagram, just search for Drink a Beer and Play a Game. Or you could also hit up patreon.com/drinkabeerandplayagame if you want some exclusive content, or to hit up and participate with our podcast known as the Power Hour. Extremely creative title that is not killed by SEO, and which you can also find on iTunes and Spotify.
Yeah. No, we really appreciate you guys having us on. This was a ton of fun. And man, all I'll say is in closing out this Radiant Beer project, this beer, spicy as a son of a bitch, and I never had an IPA that actually had a smoky flavor. So my throat is a little on fire by this beer.
Is it supposed to be spicy?
And they actually, I looked it up. They say like spicy notes, and they had a hop like Azura. Azaka. I've never tried those before. Those and El Dorado hops. I've never had this kind of reaction, and there is just. It's that constant burny tinge, but like I said, I'm almost getting like a smokiness from it.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That sounds interesting.
I'll say it's certainly interesting. I don't like after 3 since it's my 3rd IPA and it's pretty strong. I give it like a 5 just because I don't know what else to like put it at, but they're so new. Like I want to give them room to breathe. So I don't want to hate on them too much.
Fair enough.
We'll give them the love. We'll give them the love.
Yeah. We'll give them benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And yeah. All right. Well, if you want to find us, all you have to do is search Hob Nation USA, and that'll get you Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And if you want to find brand new episodes of the Hob Nation USA podcast every Friday, as you should, then search your favorite podcatcher like Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, anything that starts with pod and ends in cast. We're on all those platforms. But if you're on any of them, leave a 5-star review because
we are a 5-goal podcast, but the Flyers only get 2.
Sons of bitches.
And that's a bigger crime than us not getting fresh boar's head out here in our sheets. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I will give Wawa that.
Yes, absolutely.
You poor sheets bastards. Funny side note before we sign off, at my bachelor party, there was actually an argument that broke out between us and the strippers about which was better between Wawa and Sheets. So that is how deep it goes in Pennsylvania.
Nice. Look, I will give Wawa the advantage on fresh deli meat, and they have the Entenmann's contract, so there's always fresh Entenmann's in there. I'll give them that. However,
this is true. You can have all the sports titles.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, Sheets meatball subs blows you guys out the fucking water.
Yeah, theirs are like frozen. I'll give you that.
Sheets meatball subs are huge and they're great. Mm-hmm. But yeah, thanks again for Jim and Brian for coming on.
Yeah,
great time.
A ton of fun.
Yeah.
Thanks again, guys.
We truly appreciate it.
Right on. With that, next week is our 4th year anniversary. So we have something in the works, but it might become something else. I'm not telling you what's going on.
But it's huge.
Yes, but tune in. Also be on the lookout for glass giveaways to get our cyberpunk inspired glass you've been seeing, if you're watching YouTube. We are going to give one away. And maybe a little empty cans, quote, with it.
Interesting.
Yes. Also, check out our t-shirts on TeePublic. And you can buy the glass now on Fueled by Hops. Anything else, Adam?
No. tpublic.com, our keyword, listen to me, 2004. Our search word, Hop Nation USA. No spaces. That'll get you exactly where you need to go.
Right on. All right. We'll see you next week with something new. Goodbye.
Bye.
See you guys.
See you guys.